The scenes depicted in this visual essay are not those of the film being described for copyright reasons. Viewer discretion is advised. In 2016's film Yearbook, we follow John through his double life in high school. This student, like many others, faces the issues of a lack of confidence and acceptance from his peers. To everyone in the school, John is the greatest student in the world. He is charismatic, sociable, and the quarterback of the football team. Then why does this student struggle with acceptance? John is a small YouTube celebrity who is very popular. And through this online stardom, John reveals that he is actually a transgender female. She posts makeup tutorials online and blogs about her day-to-day life, completely honest with her online audience about who she truly is. Her senior year, she finally has begun to come to terms with her sexuality, but the prospect of coming out as transgender to her high school is daunting, as it could upset the balance of her social status, her friendships, and how maybe even her parents view and treat her. Yearbook is the definitive film of the 2010s, as it is representative of many of the issues teens face today. It deals with transgender students and sexuality that is not considered normal by conventional standards, which is something seen more and more prevalently in not only the high school setting, but also the political climate. It discusses the issue of self-direction as students may face in regards to social norms, how to use social media, and how to represent one's image. Finally, and most notably, the film discusses friendship as a positive peer influence, as this factor eventually encourages the protagonist John to come out as a girl. Yearbook is a comedic film that takes place in a high school about an hour north of Los Angeles. John, along with many of the students portrayed in the film, predominantly come from a middle to upper class neighborhood. The protagonist of the film, John, is played by up-and-coming actor Charlie Plummer. His childhood best friend and protagonist of the film, Brad, is played by Asa Butterfield, who is unintentionally very insensitive and offensive towards John regarding sexuality. John decides to take a yearbook class senior year and meets Ella, played by Dakota Fanning, a quiet, brutally honest, and diligent student who helps John gain the courage to let the school know she is actually a girl. Throughout all her time at school playing football and helping out with the yearbook, John still manages to make her content for YouTube. This entire film is told as if it were a visual yearbook of her senior year. It's all footage that John posts on her YouTube page chronicling senior activities, hanging out with friends, and then finally, prom.
The film has multiple scenes that cut to John in her room doing makeup tutorials. While narrating these makeup tutorials, John very frequently is not just doing makeup but discussing her social life at school. While this narration happens, footage is sometimes shown of her at school, talking with friends or playing football. John feels closeted at his high school, a natural feeling, as Glee's writer Ryan Murphy is quoted saying in the article. What it says to a lot of young gay people who are confused and ashamed is that you can get love and are worthy of love. Though John is unsure about coming out in public at her high school, she gains the confidence through her peers. The issues with self-direction in the film are handled in many different ways, as representing one's image is crucial in the 2010s. One must always be putting forward the most perfect picture of themselves at all times. Considering that John is a blogger and YouTuber, she seems to think she has mastered this art. As the film progresses, we learn that the images that John has been putting out for her audience online and at school are not 100% accurate. John slowly begins to be more honest about her sexuality to her online audience, and then eventually the school. The article states, self-direction can also transition from the influence of peers and teachers.
most important thing John learns is that she must be willing to be honest with her friends and, more importantly, herself. Project Muse's study on perceived social support in the high school environment found that most LGBT students did not disclose their sexuality to their parents until first coming out to friends or other members of the LGBT community. John was no exception. As she becomes closer to Ella through Yearbook, John begins to open up to her. Prior to this point, she had never mentioned her sexuality to anyone in person, as she had only ever discussed this with her viewers online. Throughout the course of the film, Ella shows John that to be happy, one must be honest with themselves and be proud in who they are. Ella's ultimate role is in helping John become confident enough to come out to the school through a page in the yearbook at the end of the semester. When John finally introduces herself as Brigitte, students and faculty accept her with open arms. Although Brigitte is the popular topic of conversation for a few days, it doesn't take long for students to become enveloped in their own drama once again. The 2016 film Yearbook navigates the high school experiences of a young transgender student. Simultaneously highlighting setbacks and success, the film emphasizes the importance of teenage individuality amongst exploration of self-direction and sexual identity. Brigitte's virtual escape from reality was led by her own self-direction and passion to pursue her own interests. Ella's encouragement of Brigitte's acceptance of sexual identity proved their friendship to be one of positive peer influence. Through a wholehearted acceptance of herself, Brigitte learns that the straying from conventional standards is not the taboo it's made to seem, as the craziness of high school will always and inevitably settle back to its balanced agenda.